Today I'm going to show you step by step how I like to make my delicious morisqueta con su salsa de queso. Morisqueta is a classic Mexican dish, so if you don't know how to make it, today's the day you learn. We're going to start with the beans. I like to use pinto beans. You can also use mayacoba beans, but today we're using pinto beans. I have 4 cups here, and we're searching for any rocks or any rotten beans so we can remove them. Next, we're going to wash our beans. So we're going to run them under some cold water and really want to get the dirt out of the beans. If you see any pieces floating up, just go ahead and remove them. Now we're going to drain the water and we're going to repeat the same step about 2 to 3 times until the water runs clear. Next, we're going to cook our beans. So we're going to place them on the stove and we're going to add plenty of hot water to the pot. I like to use hot water because this makes the cooking process much faster than just using room temperature or cold water. So we're going to add enough water to cover the beans and we're cooking them on medium heat. Then we're going to cover so it can come to a boil. After it comes to a boil, you can remove any foam that you see. I hardly had any because I did wash my beans very well. Then we can add a small piece of onion and 1 garlic clove. And no, this does not give the beans a strong onion or garlic taste. In my family, we believe it helps so the beans don't upset your stomach. Now we're going to mix so they do cook evenly, and we're going to cover while we work on our rice. Now here I have my handy dandy rice maker. I've had this rice maker for so many years now. So this is where I make my white rice. So we're just going to add 2 cups of washed jasmine rice, along with 4 cups of water and a dash of salt. We're going to mix it and we're going to cover and we're going to put it to cook on the white rice setting. Now, this does take about 20 to 30 minutes. I don't know why it takes that long, but it does. But as you can see, once it's ready, it makes perfectly fluffy, delicious rice. And now we can just set it aside. Now we're going to go back and check on our beans. As you can see, some of the water has evaporated and you can see some of the foam. So we're going to remove that foam and we're going to add more hot water. We're going to give it a mix and we're going to allow it to continue to cook. Now that my beans have been cooking for about an hour and a half, it's time to see if they are ready. And the way I do that is I just remove some of the beans, let them cool down a little bit, and then I smash them with my finger. If they're nice and soft, then they are ready. If they're still hard, you're going to have to keep cooking them for longer. So once we've established that our beans are ready, the final thing to do is to add some salt to your liking. Let it boil for about 5 more minutes and then they are ready. Next, we're going to fry our beans for the morisqueta. So in a pot, we're going to add some oil. And once the oil is hot, we can add our beans. We let them fry for a few seconds and then we're going to add the bean broth. Now we are adding plenty of it because when you're making morisqueta, you do want your beans to be nice and brothy, very liquidy. We're going to let it come to a simmer and once it does, we can go ahead and mash our beans. If you find that your beans are too thick, then just go ahead and add more broth. Now this is what I had left over. Like I said, you can keep this on the side just to add more beans or broth to the pot, especially if you're eating the morisqueta later. Sometimes the beans tend to dry up. Otherwise, I just let them cool down completely and then store them in a mason jar in the fridge to use for later. So now that our beans are ready, we're going to go ahead and make our salsa de queso. So for the salsa, we're going to roast 2 garlic cloves, 2 serrano peppers, and 3 large tomatoes. And we're going to go ahead and blend this with half a cup of water, a little bit of salt, and just a dash of chicken bouillon. We blend very well and we set it aside. Next, we're going to heat up another pan with some oil and we're going to add some sliced onions. We're going to saute them until they are nice and golden brown and then we can add our salsa. We're going to let it come to a simmer and once it does, we can add our cheese. I'm using Cotija cheese, but you can also use queso fresco or any cheese of your choice. I love to use queso Cotija because it is salty and it does soften, but it does not melt completely. Now, once our salsa comes to a simmer one more time, it is ready. So now we can go ahead and assemble our plate. So we're going to lay a bed of white rice, followed by the fried beans and our salsa de queso. Now, I love to eat mine with some sour cream and more cheese sprinkled on top. And you can stop here. Our morisqueta is ready. However, if you're extra like me, you can make some quick tacos de papa, add a little bit of cabbage, and now the morisqueta is ready to enjoy.